The ship came out of faster-than-light travel with a soft hum. Commander Park Tae-soo stood at the viewing window and watched as the Valoran Imperial Station grew larger. It was a beautiful thing. The station looked like a flower made of crystal and light. Towers of white metal reached up like petals. Ships moved around it like bees around a hive. The Valorans had built something wonderful here, and they wanted everyone to know it. Tae-soo turned away from the window. He checked his armor one more time. The black metal covered him from head to toe. It was scratched and dented. Burn marks darkened the chest plate. One shoulder guard had a deep cut that had been welded shut. This armor had seen many battles. It had kept him alive through all of them. Lieutenant Kim Hana walked up beside him. She wore a simple uniform, no armor. Her job was to translate and help with the diplomatic mission. She looked at his armor and frowned a little. "They will judge you for wearing that," she said. "The Valorans think armor is a sign of fear or shame." "I know," Tae-soo said. His voice came through the helmet, flat and mechanical. "You could wear the dress uniform instead, just for the ceremony." "No." Hana did not argue. She had served with him for 3 years. She knew when his mind was set. The ship docked with a gentle bump. The doors opened, and they walked out into the Valoran station. Everything was bright. The walls were white and gold. The air smelled like flowers. Valoran people stood in lines on both sides, watching them. Tae-soo studied the Valorans as he walked. They were tall and thin, with skin like polished silver. Their faces were smooth and perfect. No scars, no marks, no lines of age or worry. They wore robes of bright colors that flowed like water. Every one of them looked like a work of art, and every one of them was staring at his armor with disgust. He kept walking. His boots made heavy sounds on the crystal floor. The Valorans in their soft shoes made no sound at all. He felt like a machine walking through a garden. They reached the main hall. It was huge. The ceiling was so high that clouds actually floated up there, soft and white. A throne sat at the far end, and on it sat the Valoran Emperor. He was old, but his skin was still perfect. His eyes were wise and cold. Beside the throne stood a younger Valoran. She was female, with hair like spun silver and eyes the color of violet gems. Her face was the most perfect of all. This was Princess Yira. Tae-soo had read about her. She was known for her intelligence, her beauty, and her sharp words. Tae-soo stopped before the throne and bowed. Hana bowed beside him. "Welcome to the Valoran Empire," the Emperor said. His voice was soft but carried through the whole hall. "We are pleased that Earth has sent a representative to discuss an alliance." "Thank you, Emperor," Tae-soo said. "Earth hopes for friendship between our peoples." "Then why?" Princess Yira said, stepping forward. "Did Earth send a soldier instead of a diplomat?" Her voice was clear and cutting. The court went quiet. Tae-soo saw Hana tense beside him. "I am both, Princess," Tae-soo said calmly. "A soldier can also speak for peace." "Can he?" Yira walked closer. She moved like water, graceful and smooth. She circled him slowly, looking at his armor. "I see no peace in you, human." "I see metal and scars. I see a creature that hides inside a shell." Some of the Valorans in the crowd laughed softly. "Tell me," Yira continued, "do humans wear such things because they are weak or because they are ugly?" She smiled, and it was not a kind smile. "Perhaps both?" Tae-soo said nothing. He stood still. "I have heard stories about humans," Yira said, now speaking to the crowd as much as to him. "They say your kind fights constantly, war after war. You destroy your own planets. You kill your own people." She looked back at him. "And when you are done, you hide the damage under metal and call yourselves warriors." "Yira," the Emperor said, a warning in his voice, but the princess was not finished. She reached out and tapped a finger against Tae-soo's chest plate. The sound rang through the hall. "What are you hiding in there, human? Scars? Weakness? Fear?" She leaned closer. Her violet eyes were cold. "I think you hide because you are ashamed. I think Earth sent us a broken thing in a metal box and hoped we would not notice." The hall was silent. Every eye was on Tai-Su. Hana stepped forward, her face tight with anger. "Princess, Commander Park is a decorated—" "It is fine, Lieutenant," Tai-Su said quietly. He looked at Princess Yira. She was waiting for him to react, waiting for him to show anger or shame. He gave her neither. Instead, he bowed again, a deep, respectful bow. "Thank you for the welcome, Princess," he said. "I look forward to showing you what humans truly are." For a moment, something flickered in Yira's eyes. Surprise, maybe, or confusion. She had expected him to fight back or to crumble. He had done neither. She stepped back, her smile returning but smaller now. "We shall see," she said. "We shall see what is inside that shell." The ceremony ended shortly after. Tai-Su and Hana were led to their quarters. The rooms were beautiful, with soft beds and large windows showing the stars. But Tai-Su did not rest. He stood at the window and looked out at the darkness. "She will not stop," Hana said. She was angry. He could hear it in her voice. "She will keep pushing until she breaks you or drives you away." "Then let her push," Tai-Su said. The mission is to make an alliance. That has not changed." Hana shook her head. "How can we make an alliance with people who think we are monsters?" Tai-Su was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "They do not think we are monsters, Lieutenant. They think we are weak." "That is different." "Is it better?" "No, but it is something we can change." He turned from the window. The stars reflected off his dark armor. Inside that armor, his body ached. It always ached. But he had learned long ago to live with pain. "The Valorans have never truly suffered," he said. "They have never needed to. Their world is perfect. Their bodies are perfect. They do not understand what it costs to survive when nothing is perfect." "And you are going to teach them?" Tai-Su did not answer. He was thinking about Princess Yira, about her perfect face and her cruel smile, about the disgust in her eyes when she looked at his armor. She would learn. One way or another, she would learn. The question was whether the lesson would come in time. The days that followed were difficult. Tai-Su attended meetings with Valoran officials. He sat through dinners with nobles and politicians. He spoke carefully about trade and defense and mutual benefit. But everywhere he went, Princess Yira was there. And everywhere she was, her mockery followed. At a dinner for the ambassadors, she asked him loudly if his armor had a feeding tube, since she never saw him eat. The Valorans laughed. Tai-Su simply said he preferred to dine privately and continued the conversation. At a tour of the royal gardens, she wondered aloud if humans could even smell flowers through their metal helmets. When he answered that the armor had sensors for that, she said it was sad that humans needed machines to experience beauty. More laughter. At a meeting of the Galactic Council, with representatives from 12 different species watching, she called him a Tin Man and asked if he rusted when he bathed. This time, even some of the other aliens laughed. Through all of this, Tai-Su stayed calm. He answered her questions simply. He did not argue or fight back. He bowed when appropriate and kept his voice steady. But Hana could see the effect it was having on the mission. "The Valoran Trade Minister canceled tomorrow's meeting," she told him one evening. "He said there is no point in discussing economics with someone who cannot show basic courtesy." "I have shown nothing but courtesy," Tai-Su said. "He means taking off your armor. In Valoran culture, hiding your body is an insult. It means you think you are better than them, or that you think they are not worthy of seeing the real you. And if the real me would disturb them?" Hana paused. She had seen what was under that armor once. It was not something easily forgotten. Then we fail, she said quietly. The Alliance fails. Earth does not get Valoran technology or star maps, and the next war we fight alone. Taesu turned to face her. His helmet showed nothing, just black metal and a single glowing visor, but she knew him well enough to sense his thoughts. "You think I should remove it," he said. "I think you should consider it. Just once. Just to show them you are not hiding out of fear." "I am not hiding out of fear." "I know that. They do not." He was quiet for a long moment. Outside, the Valoran stars burned cold and far away. "I will think about it," he said at last. But he did not have much time to think. The next day, Princess Yera made her biggest move yet. She stood before the full Galactic Council, representatives from every major species in the region, and gave a speech about the alliance with Earth. It was not a friendly speech. "Humans are a young species," she said. Her voice carried through the great chamber. Delegates from a dozen worlds listened. "They have potential, but they also have problems. They are violent. They are secretive. And they are afraid." She looked directly at Taesu, who sat in the Earth delegation's area. "Look at their envoy. He has been here for 1 week. He has attended every function, every meeting, every meal, and not once has he shown us his face." She spread her hands. "What kind of species sends a representative who will not even let us see him? What are they hiding? What are they ashamed of?" Murmurs went through the crowd. Some of the alien delegates nodded. "I have heard the stories about humans," Yera continued. "They fight so many wars that their bodies are ruined. They replace their flesh with machines. They cover themselves in metal because they cannot bear to be seen." Her voice grew harder. "Earth wants an alliance with the Valoran Empire, but how can we trust a species that will not even trust us with their appearance?" She turned back to Taesu. The whole chamber was watching. "Commander Park, I challenge you. Here, before the Galactic Council, remove your armor. Show us what you truly are." She smiled that cold smile. "Unless you are too afraid." Silence filled the chamber. Every eye turned to Taesu. Hana gripped the arm of her chair. She wanted to stand up and defend him. She wanted to tell them all about the battles he had fought, the people he had saved, the pain he lived with every day. But she knew it would not help. Words would not change their minds. Only action could do that. Taesu stood slowly. The sound of his armor moving was loud in the quiet chamber. He looked at Princess Yera for a long moment. Then he bowed. "I thank the princess for her concern about Earth's trustworthiness," he said. His voice was calm and steady. "But I must decline her challenge. My armor is part of who I am. It is not worn out of fear or shame. It is worn out of respect." "Respect?" Yera laughed. It was not a nice laugh. "Respect for what?" "For those who have not seen what I have seen," Taesu said. "Or done what I have done." More murmurs. But these were different. Some of the delegates looked thoughtful. A few even looked uncomfortable. Yera's smile faded a little. This was not the response she had wanted. She had expected him to either give in or lose his temper. Instead, he had answered her challenge without accepting or rejecting it. He had turned her weapon back on her. "Pretty words," she said, "but still just words. Until you show us what you are hiding, humans will remain what they appear to be, cowards in metal shells." The session ended shortly after. Delegates began to leave. Some of them looked at Taesu as they passed. He saw doubt in their eyes, and curiosity, and in some, a little bit of respect. But Hana was not optimistic. "That was well handled," she said as they walked back to their quarters. "But it was not enough. She will keep pushing." "I know. And the council members are starting to believe her. If we do not show them something soon, the alliance will fail." "I know." Hana stopped walking. Taesu stopped beside her. Sir, she said, using his title for the first time in days. I have served with you for 3 years. I have seen what you can do, and I know what you have sacrificed. But none of that matters if the Valorans never see it. Tae-Soo looked at her. Through the helmet, his expression was invisible. What do you suggest, Lieutenant? Hana took a breath. I suggest that you find another way to show them. If you will not take off your armor willingly, then find a situation where it is necessary. Show them who you are through action, not appearance. Tae-Soo was quiet. Then, very softly, he said, Be careful what you wish for, Lieutenant. Before Hana could ask what he meant, an alarm began to wail. Red lights flashed along the corridor. A computerized voice announced something in Valoran, and then in Galactic Common. Emergency! Security breach in the Royal Wing. All personnel evacuate immediately. Tae-Soo turned toward the sound of the alarm. His body shifted, and suddenly he did not look like a diplomat anymore. He looked like what he truly was. A soldier. Sir, Hana said. Stay here, he said. Monitor communications. Feed me information. What are you going to do? He was already moving. His armored boots rang on the crystal floor. What I was made for, he said. And then he was gone. The royal wing was in chaos. Tae-Soo ran through corridors filled with screaming Valorans. They pushed past him, their perfect faces twisted with fear. Some of them looked at his armor with shock, a human in battle gear, running toward the danger instead of away from it. He ignored them and kept moving. His armor's sensors fed him information. 12 hostiles detected, armed with plasma weapons. They had entered through a maintenance tunnel and surprised the guards. The Valoran security forces had been overwhelmed in minutes. That did not surprise Tae-Soo. The Valorans were not fighters. Their society had been at peace for centuries. They had grown beautiful and cultured and sophisticated. But they had forgotten how to deal with violence. Humans had not forgotten. Hana's voice came through his helmet radio. Commander, I have access to the station's security feeds. The terrorists are from the Ash Collective, anti-alliance extremists. They oppose any treaty between the Valoran Empire and outside species. Understood. Hostages? They have taken Princess Yira and 6 other delegates. They are holding them in the royal chamber. Tae-Soo felt something cold settle in his chest. The royal chamber. The same room where Yira had mocked him in front of the Galactic Council. Now she was there as a prisoner. What are their demands? They want the Emperor to reject the alliance with Earth. They are threatening to execute the hostages if he does not agree within 1 hour. 1 hour. That was not much time. Where is Valoran security? They are forming a perimeter around the royal wing, but they are not prepared for an assault. Their weapons are ceremonial. Their training is basic. Hana paused. Commander, they are asking for help, but Earth military backup is 2 hours away. 2 hours. The hostages would be dead by then. Tae-Soo stopped at a junction. 2 paths ahead. One led to the security perimeter. The other led deeper into the royal wing, toward the chamber. Commander, Hana said, what are your orders? He looked down the corridor. His armor showed him the path, highlighted in red. 12 hostiles, 7 hostages, 1 hour. Inform Valoran Command that I am entering the royal wing, he said. Tell them to maintain the perimeter but do not engage. I will handle this. Sir, you are 1 person against 12 armed extremists. Yes. They have plasma weapons. Your armor can take some hits, but not unlimited fire. I know. And if you fail, the hostages die and the alliance is destroyed. Tae-Soo began walking down the corridor toward the royal chamber. His steps were steady. Then I will not fail, he said. Hana was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Good luck, Commander. He moved through the royal wing like a ghost. His armor was heavy, but he had learned to move quietly in it. Years of training, years of practice, years of war. The first two terrorists were guarding a side entrance. They were not Valoran. They were Kreth, a lizard-like species with scales and sharp teeth. They wore black armor and carried plasma rifles. They were talking to each other in low voices. They never saw him coming. Tesu hit the first one in the throat. The Kreth went down without a sound. The second one turned and tried to raise his rifle, but Tesu was already on him. He grabbed the rifle and twisted it out of the terrorist's hands. Then he drove his armored fist into the Kreth's face. 2 down, 10 to go. He took one of the plasma rifles and moved on. The next corridor had a security camera. Tesu saw it and paused. If the terrorists were watching the feeds, they would see him coming. "Hana, can you disable the security cameras in Section 7? "Working on it." A pause. "Done. You have a 2-minute window." He moved fast, through the corridor, up a flight of stairs, around a corner. He found 2 more guards and took them down before they could call for help. One of them managed to fire his weapon, but Tesu was already moving. The plasma bolt hit the wall behind him. 4 down, 8 to go. He was getting close to the royal chamber now. He could hear voices ahead, shouting. Someone was making demands. "Commander," Hana said, "I have visual on the chamber. 6 terrorists are inside with the hostages. 2 more are guarding the main entrance." "And the last 2? "Patrolling the corridor outside." "They will reach your position in 30 seconds. Tesu pressed himself against the wall. He waited. The 2 patrolling terrorists came around the corner. They were not Kreth. They were something else. Tall, thin, with gray skin and 4 arms. Each arm held a weapon. Tesu did not give them time to use them. He burst from cover and hit the first one low, knocking it off balance. His armored elbow came up and caught it under the chin. It went down. The second one fired, all 4 weapons at once. But Tesu was already rolling. Plasma bolts burned the air around him. He came up, closed the distance, and drove his fist into the creature's chest. 6 down, 6 to go. He was breathing hard now. His armor was hot. Some of the plasma fire had scored the surface, leaving glowing marks. But he kept moving. The main entrance to the royal chamber was ahead. 2 guards stood in front of the great doors. They were alert now. They had heard the fighting. Tesu did not slow down. He came at them with the plasma rifle raised. He fired twice, 2 perfect shots, and both guards fell. Then he hit the doors at full speed. They burst open. The royal chamber was huge and bright. Tesu saw everything in an instant. 6 terrorists spread around the room, 7 hostages kneeling on the floor, hands bound. And at the center, Princess Yira, her silver hair tangled and her violet eyes wide with fear. The terrorists turned. They raised their weapons. Tesu raised his. The next few seconds were chaos. Plasma fire filled the air. Tesu moved through it like he was dancing, a brutal, violent dance that he had learned on a dozen battlefields. He fired. He dodged. He closed the distance and fought hand to hand when he had to. 1 terrorist went down, then another, then a third. A plasma bolt hit his shoulder. His armor absorbed most of it, but the impact spun him around. He used the momentum, turning it into a kick that took down a 4th terrorist. 2 left. One of them grabbed a hostage, a Valoran delegate, and used him as a shield. "Stop!" he screamed. "Stop or I kill him!" Tesu stopped. He stood in the middle of the ruined chamber, his armor smoking, his rifle aimed. "Let him go," he said. His voice was flat, empty. "You are one human," the terrorist said. He was shaking. "You cannot stop us all. We will die for our cause." "Then die," Tesu said, "but let the hostages go first." The terrorist's eyes flickered. Fear, doubt. He was not prepared for this. He had expected guards and diplomats. He had not expected a demon in black armor. The last terrorist, the leader, stepped forward. He was holding a blade to Princess Yira's throat. Yira was very still. but her eyes were locked on Tae-Soo. "You are fast, human," the leader said, "and strong, but you are not fast enough to save her. Put down your weapon." Tae-Soo looked at the blade, at Yera's throat, at the small trickle of silver blood already running down her perfect skin. He lowered the rifle. "Good," the leader said. "Now take off that armor, slowly. I want to see who has caused us so much trouble." Tae-Soo stood very still. "Now!" the leader screamed. Tae-Soo moved. Not to take off the armor, not to surrender. He moved like lightning, faster than the eye could follow. He crossed the distance between himself and the leader in the space of a heartbeat. His hand closed around the leader's wrist, the one holding the blade, and twisted. The blade fell. The leader screamed. Tae-Soo hit him once. The leader crumpled. Silence. Tae-Soo stood over the last terrorist, breathing hard. Smoke rose from his armor. His body ached in a dozen places, but the hostages were safe. Princess Yera stared up at him. Her mouth was open. Her violet eyes were huge. "You," she whispered. "How did you—" But Tae-Soo did not answer. His legs buckled. The damage to his armor was worse than he had thought. Systems were failing. Strength was fading. He fell to one knee and stayed there. The royal chamber was filled with smoke and the smell of burned metal. Bodies lay on the crystal floor. The hostages knelt where they had been held, too shocked to speak, and in the center of it all, Commander Park Tae-Soo remained on one knee, his head bowed, his armor sparking and hissing. Princess Yera was the first to move. She pulled her bound hands free. The rope had been loosened in the struggle, and stood up slowly. Her legs were shaking. Silver blood still ran down her neck where the blade had cut her, but she did not seem to notice. She was staring at Tae-Soo. "Human," she said. Her voice was strange, soft. Are you damaged?" Tae-Soo did not answer. His armor systems were failing one by one. Warning lights flickered across his visor. Power was dropping. He tried to stand, but his legs would not obey. Valoran guards burst into the chamber at last. They spread out, weapons raised, shouting orders. Some of them ran to the hostages. Others surrounded the fallen terrorists. One of them approached Tae-Soo with his weapon pointed at him. "Stand down!" Yera shouted. Her voice was suddenly strong again, the voice of a princess giving a command. "This human saved us. Lower your weapons." The guard hesitated, then obeyed. Yera walked toward Tae-Soo. Her steps were slow, careful, as if she was approaching a wild animal. "You defeated 12 armed terrorists," she said, "alone, in minutes." She stopped in front of him. "How is that possible?" Tae-Soo raised his head. His visor was cracked. Through the crack she could see something, a glimpse of skin, pale and marked. "Training," he said. His voice was rough, tired. "Experience?" "No," Yera said. "I have seen trained soldiers before, from many species. None of them could do what you just did." She crouched down to look at him more closely. "What are you?" Before he could answer, more people arrived. Medical teams, security officers. Lieutenant Hana pushed through them all and ran to Tae-Soo's side. "Commander!" She knelt beside him and looked at the damage to his armor. Her face went pale. "You are badly hurt. We need to get you to medical." "I am fine," Tae-Soo said. "You are not fine. Your armor is failing. If the life support goes—" "Lieutenant." His voice was firm, quiet. "I am fine." Hana bit her lip. She wanted to argue, but she knew better. The Valoran medical team approached with a floating stretcher. "We will take him to our medical bay," one of them said. "We have excellent facilities." "No," Tae-Soo said. Everyone stopped. "Commander," Hana said carefully, "you need medical attention." "Not here." He forced himself to his feet. It took all his strength, but he did it. He stood tall, even though his armor was ruined and his body was screaming. "Take me to our ship, our doctors." "But," That is an order, Lieutenant. Hana fell silent. She looked at the Valoran medics, then back at Tae-Soo. Then she nodded. Yes, sir. They helped him walk out of the chamber. The Valoran guards parted to let them through. The hostages watched him go. Some of them bowed their heads, a Valoran sign of respect for someone who had done a great thing. Princess Yira watched him too. Her violet eyes followed him until he disappeared through the doors. Then she turned to the nearest guard. I want all security footage from this incident. Every angle, every moment. Yes, Princess. And I want to know everything about that human, his history, his wars, his wounds. She touched her neck where the blade had cut her. Everything. On the Earth ship, Tae-Soo was taken to the medical bay. The doctors removed his armor piece by piece. It was slow work. The armor had fused in some places where plasma fire had melted it. Other places were crushed or bent. Hana waited outside. She could hear the doctors working through the door. She could hear Tae-Soo's breathing, rough and pained, even though he never cried out. After an hour, one of the doctors came out. Her face was serious. How is he? Hana asked. He will live, the doctor said. But the damage is significant. 3 broken ribs, second-degree burns on his left arm and shoulder. Cybernetic systems in his legs need repair. She paused. And that is just the new damage. The old damage. I know about the old damage. The doctor nodded. He should not have been able to fight like that. With those injuries, old and new, most people would not be able to walk, let alone take down 12 armed targets. He is not most people. No, he is not. The doctor looked back at the medical bay door. He is asking for you. Hana went in. Tae-Soo was lying on a bed. His armor was gone, piled in pieces on the floor. For the first time in days, she could see him, the real him. It was not an easy sight. His skin was a map of scars. Burn marks covered his chest and arms. Thick lines showed where surgeons had cut him open to repair damage or install cybernetics. His legs below the knee were metal, military-grade prosthetics that moved like real limbs but looked nothing like them. Part of his jaw was synthetic. So was his left eye. He looked like a man who had been broken apart and put back together many times, because that is exactly what he was. Lieutenant, he said. His voice was clearer now without the helmet. Report. All hostages are safe. No casualties except for the terrorists. Valoran Command is calling it a complete success. She paused. They are also calling you a hero. I am not a hero. That is not what they think. Tae-Soo closed his eyes. What about the princess? She is unharmed. Minor cut on her neck. She has already been treated. Hana hesitated. She has requested to see you. No. Sir, I said no. He opened his eyes and looked at her. His real eye was brown. His synthetic eye glowed faintly blue. I did not save her to impress her. I saved her because it was the right thing to do. That does not mean I want to see her. Hana was quiet for a moment. Then she said, She will not stop asking. Then let her ask. And if she comes here herself? Tae-Soo turned his head away. Then I will deal with it then. Hana did not push further. She knew him. She knew that underneath the scars and the metal and the hard voice, he was tired. Not just physically. Tired in a way that sleep could not fix. Rest, she said. I will handle communications. Thank you, Lieutenant. She left him alone. The medical bay was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Tae-Soo lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling. He had done what was needed. He had saved the hostages. He had stopped the terrorists. The mission was still alive, but he knew what came next. He knew that Princess Yira had seen him fight. She had seen what he could do. And now she would want to know what he was hiding under the armor. She would want to see. And when she did, when she saw the ruin that was his body, she would finally understand. Humans did not wear armor because they were weak. They wore it because they knew what true strength cost. And it was not a cost the Valorans were ready to see. Taesu healed slowly. The doctors repaired what they could. His cybernetics were recalibrated. His burns were treated. His ribs were bound. But the deeper damage, the old damage, remained. It always remained. He stayed on the Earth ship and did not leave his room. Hana brought him reports. The Valoran Emperor had sent messages of thanks. The Galactic Council had praised his actions. Delegates from a dozen species wanted to meet him. He ignored all of it. But Princess Yira did not give up. She sent messages. She sent gifts. She sent requests for meetings. When those did not work, she sent demands. When those did not work either, she came in person. Hana met her at the ship's airlock. The princess wore a simple white robe, simple for a Valoran anyway, and her silver hair was pulled back from her face. She looked tired and determined. "I wish to see Commander Park," she said. "The commander is recovering," Hana said. "He is not receiving visitors." "I am not a visitor. I am the heir to the Valoran Empire." "With respect, Princess, that does not change his orders." Yira's violet eyes flashed. For a moment, Hana thought she would explode with anger. But instead, something strange happened. The princess's face softened. "Please," she said. The word seemed to cost her a great deal. "I need to speak with him." Hana was surprised. In all the time she had known Yira, watching her from across rooms, listening to her speeches and her mockery, she had never heard the princess say please. "Wait here," Hana said. She went to Tai Su's room. He was sitting on the edge of his bed, dressed in simple clothes that showed his arms. The scars were visible. The metal of his prosthetic legs gleamed in the dim light. "She is here," Hana said. "I know." "She said please." Taisu looked up. "Did she?" "She did." Hana leaned against the doorframe. "I do not think she will leave until she sees you." He was quiet for a moment. Then he stood up slowly. His body ached, but he ignored it. He had been ignoring pain for years. "Bring her in," he said. Hana nodded and left. A minute later, she returned with Princess Yira. The princess stopped in the doorway. Her eyes went wide. She was seeing him, really seeing him, for the first time. No armor, no helmet, just a man. A broken, rebuilt, scarred man. Taesu stood in the center of the room and let her look. Yira stepped closer. Her eyes moved over him. She saw the burns on his arms, the surgical scars on his chest, the place where his jaw had been replaced with metal, the cybernetic eye that glowed faintly blue. And she saw his legs. From the knee down, they were not flesh. They were metal and wire and servos. Military prosthetics, strong and functional but cold, inhuman. "What happened to you?" she whispered. "War," Taesu said simply. "Which war?" "All of them." Yira looked at his face, at the scars, at the synthetic parts, at the one human eye that watched her calmly. "I have read your file," she said. "I know what humans call you, the Iron Ghost. You have fought in 9 wars. You have been wounded 37 times. You have died twice, clinically dead, and been brought back." 38 times, Taesu said, as of 2 days ago. Yira took another step closer. She was an arm's length away now. "Why?" she asked. "Why do you keep fighting? Why do you let them keep putting you back together?" "Because there is always another fight, another battle, another person who needs saving." He looked at her steadily. "Like you." Yira flinched. She actually flinched. "I called you a coward," she said. Her voice was strange, tight. "I called you broken. I said you were hiding because you were ashamed. Yes. And the whole time you were... this." She gestured at his body. "You were carrying all of this, and you never said anything." What was there to say? Yira shook her head. She was struggling. Tae-Soo could see it. Her whole life she had believed in certain things. Beauty, perfection, strength without cost. And now she was standing in front of a man who was the opposite of all that. And he was the strongest person she had ever seen. "We do not have scars on my world," she said quietly. "When we are injured, we are healed completely. No marks, no reminders." She looked at the burn on his shoulder, fresh, red, still painful. "Why do humans not do the same?" "Because scars are not shameful," Tae-Soo said. "They are proof." "Proof of what?" "That we survived, that we were there, that we paid the price and kept going." Yira was silent. "Your people have been at peace for a long time," Tae-Soo continued. "You have forgotten what conflict does to a body, to a mind, to a species." He held up his arm, the one covered in burn scars. "This is what survival looks like when it is not easy, when you have to fight for every breath, when the universe is trying to kill you and you refuse to die." He lowered his arm. "I do not wear armor because I am ashamed of this. I wear it because most people are not ready to see it, because it frightens them, because it makes them uncomfortable." He met her eyes. "I wear it out of respect for their peace, not out of fear of their judgment." Yira stood very still. She was looking at him differently now. The mockery was gone from her eyes, the contempt, the superiority. Something else was there instead, something that looked almost like awe. "You saved my life," she said. "You walked into a room full of armed killers, and you took them apart with your bare hands. And you did it while carrying wounds that would have killed most people." She paused. "Why? Why would you do that for me? Someone who had insulted you and mocked you and tried to humiliate you?" Tae-Soo considered the question. "Because it was the right thing to do," he said. "Even after everything I said." "Yes. Even though I called you broken?" He almost smiled. It was just a small movement of his lips, but it was there. "Princess," he said, "I am broken. I have been broken many times, but broken is not the same as weak, and it is not the same as finished." He touched his chest, where the scars were thickest. "I have been taken apart and put back together so many times that I have lost count. I am more metal than flesh, more scar than skin. But I am still here, still fighting. Still doing what needs to be done." He looked at her with his mismatched eyes, one brown, one blue. "That is what humans are," he said. "We break, we fall, we fail, but we do not stop, we never stop." Yira did not respond. She could not. For the first time in her life, she had nothing to say. She stood there in that small room on a human ship, looking at a man who should have been dead many times over, and she understood something she had never understood before. Strength was not about being unbroken. It was about breaking and choosing to get back up. She took a breath. When she spoke, her voice was different, softer, humbled. "I owe you an apology, Commander, a real one." She lowered her head, not a bull, but something close. "I was wrong about you, wrong about humans. I see that now." Tae-Soo inclined his head. "Apology accepted." "Princess?" She raised her eyes. "What happens now?" "Now," Tae-Soo said, "we finish what we came here to do." "The Alliance." "Yes." Yira nodded slowly. "Then let us finish it together." And for the first time since he had arrived on the Valoran station, Tae-Soo believed that might actually be possible. Delegates from 12 species sat in their designated areas. Ambassadors and advisors whispered to each other. The air was thick with tension and curiosity. Everyone knew something important was about to happen. At the center of the chamber, Princess Yira stood before the assembly. She wore formal robes of deep violet, the color of Valoran royalty, and her silver hair was arranged in an elaborate style. She looked every bit the heir to an empire. but there was something different about her today, something in her eyes. A weight that had not been there before. Behind her, the great doors opened. Commander Park Tae-soo walked in. He was not wearing his armor. A murmur went through the chamber. Delegates leaned forward, some gasped, others whispered urgently to their neighbors. Tae-soo walked slowly and steadily down the center aisle. He wore a simple black uniform that left his arms bare. Every scar was visible, every burn mark, every line of surgical reconstruction. His prosthetic legs gleamed with each step. He looked like a man who had been to war, many wars. He stopped beside Princess Yira and faced the assembly. Yira raised her hand for silence. The chamber went quiet. "Honored delegates," she said. Her voice was clear and strong. "I asked to speak today because I have something to confess, something that shames me." More murmurs. This was not what anyone expected. When Commander Park arrived at this station, I treated him with contempt. I mocked him. I called him a coward. I said he was hiding his weakness under his armor. She paused. I was wrong. She turned to look at Tae-soo. He stood still, his face calm. 2 days ago, this man saved my life. He walked alone into a room full of armed terrorists and defeated them with nothing but his training and his will. He did this while carrying injuries that would have stopped most soldiers. He did this for a princess who had done nothing but insult him since he arrived. She turned back to the assembly. I asked him why. Why would he risk his life for someone who had treated him so badly? Do you know what he said? Silence. He said it was the right thing to do. Yira let that sit for a moment. Then she gestured to Tae-soo. Look at him, she said. Look at what he carries. Burns, scars, cybernetics. He has been torn apart and rebuilt more times than I can count. Any other species would have stopped. Any other species would have given up. But humans do not give up. She walked toward the assembly, her eyes moving from delegate to delegate. I asked Commander Park why humans do not heal their scars, why they do not remove the evidence of their wounds. He told me that scars are proof of survival, proof of sacrifice, proof that they were willing to pay the price. She stopped. My people do not have scars. We heal completely. We remain perfect. Her voice grew quiet. But now I wonder, what does that perfection cost us? What do we lose when we erase every mark of struggle? She turned back to Tae-soo. Commander, you told me once that you wear your armor out of respect, that you hide your wounds because most people are not ready to see them. But I think there is another reason. She looked at him. I think you are protecting us. I think you know that if we saw what true strength costs, we would be afraid. Tae-soo did not respond, but something flickered in his eyes. Yira faced the assembly again. Humans are not weak. They are not cowards. They are something much more frightening. She let her words hang in the air. They are survivors. They break. They fall. They bleed. And then they get back up and keep fighting. They take pain that would kill other species, and they turn it into strength. She raised her chin. That is why I believe the Valoran Empire should sign this alliance. Not because humans are perfect, not because they are beautiful or sophisticated or cultured, but because they are strong in a way that we have forgotten. Strong in a way that the galaxy needs. She bowed her head to Tae-soo. A deep bow, the kind reserved for great warriors and honored elders. I apologize for my insults, Commander, and I thank you for showing me the truth. The chamber was silent. Then Tae-soo stepped forward. He looked at the assembly, at all those alien faces watching him. I am not a diplomat, he said. His voice was rough but steady. I do not have fancy words or clever speeches. I am a soldier. I fight. I bleed. I break. He touched one of the scars on his arm. This is what I know. He dropped his hand. But I can tell you something about humans. Something that Princess Yera has come to understand. He looked at Yera for a moment. Then back at the delegates. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the smartest or the fastest or the most advanced. But we are the most stubborn. When we commit to something, when we decide that something matters, we do not let go. We do not stop. We fight for it until we win or until we die. He stepped forward. Earth wants this alliance. We believe in it. We are willing to fight for it, bleed for it, sacrifice for it. That is what you will get if you sign this treaty. Not perfection, not beauty, but dedication, loyalty, strength that does not quit. He stood in front of the Valoran Emperor, who had been watching in silence. You called me broken, Tesu said, and maybe I am, but I am still here, still standing, still willing to do what needs to be done. He met the Emperor's eyes. That is what humans offer you. Take it or leave it. The chamber was completely silent. Then the Valoran Emperor stood. He was old, but his eyes were sharp. He looked at Tesu for a long moment. I have ruled the Valoran Empire for 200 years, he said. In that time, I have met many species, many warriors, many diplomats. He paused. I have never met anyone like you. He walked down from his throne and stood in front of Tesu. They were of equal height, but the Emperor seemed smaller somehow, lighter, as if he was made of different stuff. My daughter was wrong to mock you, the Emperor said, and I was wrong to allow it. We judged you by our standards, standards that value surface over substance. He looked at Tesu's scars. But I see now that your scars are not marks of weakness. They are marks of honor. He extended his hand, a human gesture that he had clearly studied. The Valoran Empire will sign the alliance with Earth, he said, and we will be proud to call humans our allies. Tesu looked at the hand. Then he took it. The chamber erupted. Delegates cheered. Some of them stamped their feet or clapped their hands or made whatever sound their species made to show approval. Even the Valoran nobles, usually so reserved, were applauding. But Tesu barely noticed. He was looking at Princess Yera. She was standing to the side, watching him. There was something in her eyes that he did not quite understand. Respect, yes. Gratitude, yes. But something else, too. Something that looked almost like admiration. He inclined his head to her. Just a small movement. She inclined hers back. And for the first time since he had arrived on the Valoran station, Tesu allowed himself to believe that the mission was truly complete. Afterward, Hana found him in a quiet corridor. He was looking out a window at the stars. You did it, she said. The alliance is signed. Earth is officially allied with the Valoran Empire. We did it, he corrected. No, you did it. She stood beside him. You walked in there with no armor, showed them everything you are, and convinced an entire empire to change their minds. She shook her head. I have seen you do many things, Commander. But that might be the most impressive. Tesu was quiet for a moment. It was not impressive, he said. It was necessary. Same thing sometimes. He turned to look at her. His scarred face was calm, tired, but at peace. The princess apologized, he said. For real this time. I saw. Hana smiled slightly. I think she might actually respect you now. Perhaps. Perhaps. She bowed to you in front of the entire Galactic Council. That is not nothing. Tesu looked back at the stars. No, he agreed. It is not nothing. They stood there together, watching the galaxy turn slowly outside the window. The mission was complete. The alliance was signed. But Tesu knew that this was not the end. It was just the beginning. Tea was a grand affair. The Valoran Emperor presided over it himself. Delegates from across the galaxy attended as witnesses. Cameras recorded everything for broadcast to 100 worlds. Commander Park Tae-soo stood at the center of it all, still without his armor, and signed his name to the treaty that would bind Earth and the Valoran Empire together. When the last signature was complete, the Emperor raised his hand. "Let it be known," he announced, "that from this day forward, Earth and the Valoran Empire are allies. We will trade together. We will defend each other. We will face the challenges of the galaxy as partners, not strangers." Applause filled the chamber. Music played. Valoran nobles raised their glasses in toasts. But Tae-soo did not celebrate. He stood quietly to the side, watching the crowd. His body ached. His scars pulled tight across his skin. He was tired. More tired than he had been in a long time. Hana appeared beside him with 2 drinks. She handed him one. "You should be celebrating," she said. "This is your victory." "It is Earth's victory," he said. "I was just the messenger." "Some messenger." She smiled. "Most messengers do not kill 12 terrorists and give speeches that change the course of galactic politics. I spoke the truth, that is all. Sometimes that is enough." They drank in silence for a moment. Around them, the party continued. Valoran nobles mingled with alien delegates. Everyone was smiling and laughing. For one night, at least, the galaxy felt like it was at peace. Then Tae-soo saw Princess Yira walking toward them. She moved through the crowd gracefully, nodding to the nobles who greeted her, but her eyes were fixed on Tae-soo. When she reached him, she stopped. "Commander," she said. "Princess." They looked at each other. There was a strange tension between them. Not hostility, but something else. Something new. "I wanted to speak with you before you leave," Yira said. "Privately." Tae-soo glanced at Hana. She raised her eyebrows but stepped away without a word. Yira gestured to a balcony at the edge of the chamber. Tae-soo followed her out. The balcony looked out over the Valoran station. The crystal towers glittered in the starlight. Ships moved slowly through the darkness. It was beautiful, perfect, like everything the Valorans built. But Tae-soo was not looking at the view. He was looking at the princess. Yira stood at the railing, her hands clasped in front of her. She was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke. "I have been thinking about what you said, about scars being proof, about survival having a cost." She looked at him. "I have never had to survive anything. Not really. Everything in my life has been given to me. My title, my beauty, my power. I have never had to fight for any of it." "That is not a fault," Tae-soo said. "That is fortune." "Perhaps. But fortune can make you blind. It made me blind to you." She turned to face him fully. "When I first saw you, I saw metal and scars. I thought you were hiding something shameful. I did not understand that you were protecting something valuable. What is that? Your sacrifice, your pain, your proof." She looked at his arms, at the burns and the surgical lines. "You carry the cost of survival on your body. Every scar is a choice you made, to keep going when you could have stopped. I did not understand that before." Tae-soo was quiet. Yira stepped closer to him. "I want you to know that I meant what I said in the council chamber, about respecting you, about admiring what humans are willing to endure." She paused. "And I want to thank you, not just for saving my life, for saving my understanding." "What do you mean?" "You showed me something I had never seen before. Strength that is not about perfection. Courage that is not about being unafraid. Value that is not about being whole." She looked into his eyes, one brown, one blue. "You showed me that broken things can still be strong, maybe even stronger than things that have never been broken at all." Tae-soo felt something move in his chest. He did not know what it was. It had been a long time since he had felt much of anything. "I will not forget you, Commander," Yira said. "I do not think I could." "Nor I you, Princess." She smiled. It was a real smile this time. Not mocking, not cold. Just genuine. Then she did something that surprised him. She reached out and touched his arm. Her fingers rested lightly on one of his burn scars. Her skin was cool and smooth, perfect Velaran skin that had never known damage. "Does it hurt?" she asked quietly. "Always?" Tesu considered the question. He could lie. He could say it did not. But he had promised himself that he would not hide any more. Not from her. "Yes," he said. "It always hurts. And you keep going anyway." "Yes." Yira looked at him for a long moment. Then she removed her hand and stepped back. "I think that is the most human thing I have ever heard," she said. She turned and walked back into the chamber. At the door, she paused and looked over her shoulder. "Safe travels, Commander. I hope we will meet again." Then she was gone. The Earth ship left the Valoran station the next morning. Tesu stood in the airlock as the doors closed. He watched the station shrink in the window, the crystal towers, the white metal, the perfect beauty of it all. Then he turned and walked to his quarters. His armor was waiting for him. The Valoran engineers had repaired it as a gift, all the damage from the terrorist attack fixed, the metal polished, the systems upgraded. It looked almost new. He put it on piece by piece, the leg plates, the chest plate, the arm guards, the gauntlets, finally the helmet. When he was done, he was Commander Park Tae-Soo again, the Iron Ghost, the man in the metal shell. But something was different now. Before, he had worn the armor as a wall, a way to separate himself from the galaxy, to protect others from seeing what survival had cost him. But now, the armor felt like something else. It felt like a choice. He was not hiding anymore. He was choosing to wear the armor because there was still work to do, still battles to fight, still people to protect. The scars were still there underneath. The pain was still there. The cost of survival had not changed. But he had changed. He walked to the bridge of the ship. Hana was there, looking at a data screen. "The Emperor sent a message," she said without looking up. "He wants you to know that you are welcome in the Valoran Empire any time, as an honored guest. That is kind of him." "The princess also sent a message." Tae-Soo paused. "What did she say?" Hana looked up at him. A small smile played at the corner of her mouth. "She said she looks forward to seeing what you do next." Tae-Soo said nothing, but behind his helmet he was thinking about violet eyes and a real smile and a hand on his arm. "What are your orders, Commander?" Hana asked. He looked out the viewport at the stars. Millions of them. Burning in the darkness, each one a sun with worlds and peoples and stories. "Set course for Earth," he said. "We have a treaty to deliver." "And after that?" He thought about the question, about the scars on his body and the wars he had fought and the ones still to come, about broken things that could still be strong. "After that," he said, "we find the next fight." Hana nodded. She did not ask what fight. She did not need to. There was always another fight for people like them. The ship turned and jumped to faster-than-light travel. The stars blurred and stretched, and Commander Park Tae-Soo, the Iron Ghost, the broken man who would not stop, went home. But not forever. There was always more work to do. The end.